spine. I guess I can start with the basic parts that all the vertebrae have. And all vertebrae have a centrum or a body. That's this piece right here. It's the fat back end of the vertebrae. You have a vertebral arch, which is the arch in the top. You also have a lamina, and well, first I'll go with the spinous process, which is just pointing in on the back end, and it points downward. You have a lamina, which is it's the space between the transverse process, which is here, and the spinous process. This is called the lamina. You have one on each side, and then the space between the transverse process and the body. This piece right here is called the pedicle. That's this piece right here. And then you have articular facets, and they get their name, facets are smooth areas that allow for connection to other processes of different bones. So they're always flat. And you have superior articular facets, and they call them superior because they're located on the top portion of a vertebrae. And you have inferior articular facets, which are located on the bottom of the vertebrae. And what these facets allow is for connection or articulation of vertebrae, like so. The superior articular facets of one vertebrae connect with the inferior articular facets of another vertebrae to form the spinal column. And once these vertebrae connect, you'll have spaces in between on the sides. These are called intervertebral foramen. And what they allow is for passage of spinal nerves. Also, once all the vertebrae connect, if you connect the entire spinal column together, and you run that makes the vertebral canal, which allows for passage of the spinal cord. Okay. And I guess we can start with differentiation of the three types of vertebrae. You have three main types. You have cervical vertebrae, you have thoracic vertebrae, and lumbar vertebrae. All of the cervical vertebrae, they all have transverse foramen, and except for the very first vertebrae, they all have a small body. Well, actually, the first vertebrae does not have a body. This first vertebrae is called the atlas. And people kind of get its name from the fact that of the Greek god Atlas, who holds up the earth. That's what some people think of when they think of the Atlas, because it holds the skull on top of their body. And it's one way you can differentiate it is the fact that it has no centrum on it. You see how all the other vertebrae have this thick piece in the back. This doesn't have one at all. It just has an anterior tubercle, which is located in the front, and a posterior tubercle, which is located in the back. And this is the second vertebrae. It's called the axis. And the way you can differentiate it is it has this thing called a dens on it, or an odontoid process. It allows for the movement of the head and neck. It allows for you to nod like this and turn your head side to side. And also, let me see. How can you differentiate this? It also has flat superior articular facets, and the dens takes the place of the body. Oh yeah. One more thing with this is the fact that when you have where in the atlas you have this spot called the fovea dentis. It's a rounded area where the dens kind of rubs up against the atlas, and so it kind of makes like a groove. Other than that, most of the cervical vertebrae, they all have what they call a spinous process, and most of the time the spinous process has like a split down the back end. And they all have the transverse foramen and the small body. You see how compared with the other vertebrae, these have a small body, and as you go down the back, they get bigger. So these are the first seven vertebrae, the cervical vertebrae, are classified by small bodies, split spinous processes, and transverse foramen. And then the next set of vertebrae are thoracic vertebrae. You have 12 of these. People have characterized them as kind of looking like a. Oh, excuse me. This is still a. Excuse me. I apologize. This is still a cervical. It has holes in it. Excuse me. You look next at the thoracic vertebrae. You have 12 of them. You differentiate them because they kind of look like a giraffe when you look at it. You ever kind of imagine it? That's the kind of look it has. They lack transverse framing. They don't have holes in the sides here. They have a medium, as far as the body shape, it's kind of medium between what you would find in a lumbar vertebrae or a cervical vertebrae. And their transverse process, it kind of points out a little bit and juts down. And then lastly, the lumbar vertebrae, and they're the thickest. People say they kind of look like a moose if you look at it from the backside. And the way you differentiate them is the fact that they have a really thick body. And the reason they do that is because they support the majority of the weight on the spine. So that's a rundown of the spine in the vertebral column.